Hello, this is Brian with ZimCo Survival. I am back today. This time, I have a little bit of a treat for you guys, and that is fat rope. I've seen quite a few review videos on this, and I decided to get it because I've noticed a distinct lack of the kind of video I wanted to see. And that was a direct side-by-side comparison of this versus the most common tinder for preppers, survivalists, which are petroleum cotton balls, aka that. Which one is actually better? I know every reviewer seems to be hyping this thing up. You know, it's so freaking good. But is it really that good? I mean, is it really something that you should give up petroleum cotton balls and buy? So I decided that I was going to do 3 tests that I wanted to see for myself how it fared. And so basically this review is going to be of those 3 tests. We have the burn test, basically the how quickly does it light and how long does it burn. That's going to be test 1. Test 2 is going to be a rain test. I'm not going to just pour water over the top of it because anything will go out if you pour enough water on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a spray bottle and I'm going to simulate as best I can rainfall. A more realistic condition, because if it's raining hard enough that it's a stream of water coming down on top of you, you are probably in a really bad situation and fire is the last of your concerns. And the 3rd test is going to be waterproofness. Basically, I'm going to dunk it in some water and we'll see which one lights up, if they light up, you know, how it performs as far as that goes. So basically the first part of this video, which I'm going to do just a second, is going to be those 3 tests. After that, I will go ahead and talk to you about my opinion based on the tests I performed of basically fat rope, and let you know what I think about it. So don't go away, and as always, remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. I try to do them as often as I can, but my wife is pregnant now, so videos are kind of when I have time. But yep, if you want to see more testing videos like this, just hit like and subscribe. But don't go away, we'll be right back with those tests. Alright, and we are back. Now for the purpose of this test, I'm going to be using essentially fat rope. I'll show you guys later in the end of the review, but when you open it up, this is what it's going to look like. Basically, I'm using one of those strings and I'm cutting it by 1/3. So I'm using 1/3 for each portion of this test, because as you can see, it gives me a pretty close representation of a petroleum cotton ball. So I want to keep it as accurate as possible and use about the same amount of material for both tests. So that's why I'm doing it that way. But this right here is a simple burn test. So I'm not going to be timing it. We should be able to see which one burns longer just by watching which one goes out. Everyone has a pretty good idea of how long a cotton ball burns. So I'm just going to go ahead, and which one goes out first is the one that loses. So let's go ahead and start the cotton ball. There we are. Alright, so there we go. Alright, so the fat rope is out. Let me go ahead and show you one of the things that I found about it. See all that unburned material there? Now, when I started fires with it, that material would of course burn. But if you're just using it alone, you have to relight it by flipping it over. I think that's a design flaw. I'm not sure how you can fix it, but so I just flipped it over for you, and as you can see, it burns a little bit longer, but ultimately it will still go out before the cotton ball. So in the burn test, in all my tests, the cotton ball has long outburned the fat rope. But the fat rope's claim to fame isn't its burn time. The fat rope's claim to fame is its water resistance. So let me go ahead and show you guys what that looks like. By using test number 2, we're going to try and simulate rain. Now in order to do that, I'm going to use a spray bottle, and I'm going to light both of them, and then spray it with the spray bottle from a little bit of a distance, try and get kind of a rainfall effect. It's the best way that I've found to try and do this test. But for you guys saying, oh, you can light fat rope on top of water, you can do whatever. Yes, you can do that, but you can do the same thing with a petroleum cotton ball as well, if it's properly made, if the petroleum has completely coated the cotton fibers. I was successfully able to get a petroleum cotton ball to light while sitting in a pool of water, just like the fat rope. But that's not a realistic test, because you're not going to be lighting a cotton ball on fire or fat rope floating on top of a lake. So I decided to go ahead and do as realistic a test as possible and use simulated rainfall to do this test. So let me go ahead and get that set up for you guys really quick, and we'll go from there. Get that off there. Alright, and it relit. There we go. So here we have our second cotton ball. And you guys are going to actually watch me prep this up, so this particular time. This part is a little bit annoying because it takes a bit of time to process down all these little fibers to actually make them usable. Which for me is a little bit of a drawback, because if I'm in a situation where I can't find birch bark or fat wood or old man's beard or anything like that to start a fire with, cattail heads, then I'm not in a situation where I'm going to want to sit here and use a whole bunch of fine motor skills to try and separate out these little fibers, and take this amount of time. And I want to show you this prepping stage so that you guys can get an idea for just how long this can take. I wasn't particularly expecting this during my testing, but it is a drawback I found about fat rope, and that it takes a surprising amount of time to kind of prep it. Alright, so let's get a little more dense because I don't want it to just poof, gone. Alright, now because of the extreme amount of burn time that the cotton ball has versus the fat rope, I'm going to go ahead and light the cotton ball first, so that I can get as much time as I can towards the actual get in position here. Light this up. I also found that the fat rope takes a lot longer to ignite. Alright, so here we go. So let's go ahead and simulate rainfall. Alright. Test 2. I don't know how well you guys were able to see it, but that's the result. I personally was not particularly impressed. But let's go ahead and continue this little bit of a test by seeing if we can relight it. And then we'll move on to test 3, where I will actually physically dunk the 2 in water, and we'll see if we can get them relit. So let's go ahead and pull this out a little bit, expose some fresh fibers, and see if we can get this to relight. Alright, we got a little bit of ignition there. Let's do the same thing for the petroleum cotton ball here. Expose some fresh fibers. This is a perfect example of what I've seen about fat rope. It just doesn't seem to hold up to petroleum cotton balls as well as it should for what it is. As you can see, the cotton ball is still burning, relit, burning well, and I'm having to fight to keep this thing burning. So there's test number 2. We're going to move on to test number 3, and that is physically dunking both of them in water and seeing how they work out. So we'll go ahead and get that going. Let's move this off, put this out. Come on now. Alright, so we got that done. Test 3. So we've got our 3rd cotton ball, and here is this. And once again, in case you guys didn't catch it well enough the last time, I'm going to go ahead and process all this material out. Now, I did not spend a super long amount of time making those cotton balls. I basically just took a bunch of petroleum jelly, put it in my hand, and rolled the cotton balls around, and then refluffed them. So we're not talking any special secret process to make cotton balls like that. Just down dirty, messy. Simplest way to make them. So there's nothing special, nothing fancy. There's no wax in there or anything. There's no special mix of anything else. It's just petroleum jelly, put it in my hand, roll the cotton ball around, pull it apart, and fluffed it back up. That's all I did. So for you guys wondering if there's anything special I did to it, no. So we're going to go ahead and dunk this in the water. This is the fat rope. Alright. And what we're going to do, for sake of fairness, is we're going to go ahead and squeeze out as much of the excess water as we can and refluff it. There you go. Fat rope, cotton ball. Squeeze out as much excess water as I can. Refluff it. Now, as you guys have probably noticed, I have done these tests before for my own purposes, and I decided to go ahead and make a video for you guys on this because I know a lot of people are probably wondering. One problem with cotton balls is after they get wet, they don't really want to fluff up very much. Okay, let's go ahead. That should be okay for the purposes of this test. Let's move this off to the side. Alright, now we're going to start with the cotton ball again. think I've made my point. This will ignite, but it burns very, very slowly. And it does have a tendency to go out. So you may have to reignite it more than just once. But that kind of defeats the purpose if you're trying to start a fire. So, yeah. But as you can see, even when being held above the fire, the petroleum cotton ball just doesn't want to burn. That's the only flaw that I've found with cotton balls, is that they won't light if they're damp. But they will light and withstand becoming damp just as long as they don't start out wet. But there's the test. Let me go ahead and take you back to the chair and we'll talk about it a little bit more. Alright, so we're back. Ultimately, the question this video is meant to answer is fat rope really better than petroleum cotton balls? I think I just proved a point. I think the oldies but the goodies, the petroleum cotton balls, the traditional way of doing it, is still the best option. Now I'm not going to say fat rope is bad. For a commercially made tinder, it is certainly good. Definitely better than quick tabs and stuff like that. Now, some information about this. According to the manufacturer, the person who makes these, they have to be handmade because of the process involved in making them. They can't be made in a factory. That's the reason these are $8 a stick. And he states that that is the reason that the price is as high as it is, because it simply cannot be mass manufactured in huge quantities. I don't know. I don't know how it's made. I don't know what accelerants they use. I just know that my petroleum cotton ball, which doesn't even have any wax added to it, the recipe that I like to use produces a much hotter, longer burning cotton ball, and one that is more water resistant than a normal petroleum cotton ball. Those are just regular old normal petroleum cotton balls, and they still performed just equally well to this, except for the last test where simply it was just too wet. It couldn't light. And that is the only place where I think this pulls ahead, is in the fact that it can light even after being submerged. But there's a very cheap, effective, extremely effective way of solving that problem when it comes to petroleum cotton balls, and that is a Ziploc bag. That's what I keep mine in. That is what I've always used, and I have never, ever, ever, ever had a Ziploc bag fail me at keeping my cotton balls dry. So, over the course of well over a decade, falling in streams and having my pack soaked by rain, I've never pulled out my bag of cotton balls and had them soaking wet with just a cheap sandwich bag from Walmart. So that's my opinion. In my opinion, these are certainly a fancy, apparently highly valued form of tinder, but I'm going to have to stick with my original petroleum cotton balls. They're simply just as effective. As you saw during the rain test, they still burned while the fat rope went out. They were still burning, and I was having to move around with the spray bottle to try and put it out. So in my opinion, in not so good weather, petroleum cotton balls are still going to win. The only time this is going to become a benefit over a petroleum cotton ball is if you don't put your petroleum cotton balls in a waterproofing medium of some kind, like a plastic bag or something like that, and they get wet. In that case, this is going to light where those won't. But in my opinion, if you're letting your fire tinder get wet anyway, you have a lot more to learn about fire making, and what tinders to use is probably going to be the last thing you should start with. If you are carrying your fire kit in a way that will allow it to get soaking wet like that, you should really go back to square one and relearn fire making. Because something as simple as a plastic sandwich bag is all you need to waterproof your fire tinders, which should always be waterproofed to begin with. It's just fire making 101 if you're prepping a fire kit. But that's my opinion. Now let me go ahead and do the review on it, even though in all honesty I do not believe that they are worth it. I purchased it. I wasn't originally going to. I purchased it because there were so many people saying, oh, it's so good, you know, everyone should buy some, you know, best fire making in the world, you know, product in the world kind of thing. And I decided to purchase it for two reasons. Reason number one, the product has to be handmade. If the manufacturer is to be believed, the product has to be handmade, which means that it cannot be mass manufactured. It's also being produced by a prepper. Basically, you know, he invented it, he started making it, he patented it, starting his own small business. So I bought 5 of these things purely for the purpose of supporting him. I mean, I may not believe that the product is any better than a petroleum cotton ball. I think that they should, you know, they definitely do burn. I think petroleum cotton balls are a lot cheaper. But I do like the fact that he went out and made something cool and marketed it and is trying to make a living with it. And so I'm going to give him props for that. And I bought 5 of them to support him. I've gone through quite a few of those sticks now because, like I said, it's not something I'm going to carry in my backpack. So I have been testing these in various conditions to see if I can find a condition in which these outperform petroleum cotton balls. And I really just haven't found one, except if you let your petroleum cotton balls get absolutely soaking wet, in which case, yes, these will still light. But my overall review of these is, I'd say for somebody starting out, somebody who wants to build a bag, but just doesn't have a lot of time to sit down and make stuff themselves, these are a readily available, packable fire source. Each one of these ropes, each one of these fat ropes has 32 of these individual strands. Each one of these strands will make about 3 to 4 fires. So if you do the math on that, you're looking at about 96 fires minimum per rope. So if you're, you know, not familiar with making stuff yourself, or if you're just simply don't have the time, then yeah, you know, you can pick this up. It's gonna work. It's gonna do what you need it to do. It lights up fairly easily, not as well as a petroleum cotton ball, but it lights up easily enough, and it does have enough waterproof nature to it to actually survive through, you know, decent amount of weather. But if you have the time, you want to sit down and spend a couple hours, you know, making yourself 100 petroleum cotton balls, I think it's a more effective, cheaper, and better option overall to just spend that hour or two and make a bunch of them yourself. I'm sorry. I really wanted to support the guy. I really wanted to like this product, especially with how hyped up it's been. But as you guys saw during my test, I can't support it. So I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. It does what it's supposed to do. It lights, it will start a fire, but it is not as good as the petroleum cotton balls as far as options go. The price tag on it with the effectiveness of it, I don't think match up. Honestly, I would say it would be a decent buy at probably $3 or $4 a rope. And I'm sorry, but based on the testing I've done, that's the price tag I'd put on it. You know, it's a good product at a lower price point. But at $8, I was expecting a premium tinder, something that really stood out above the rest and would at least be better than my petroleum cotton balls are. And I was let down. It did not perform to my expectations. So there you have it. That's my review. If you're the manufacturer and you are watching this, I am sorry, but I have to be honest. There you go. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you do want to purchase some of this, I will be posting a link to Fiddleback Outdoors. They are currently the people in the USA who are selling this product. It is sold exclusively through Fiddleback. So if you want to purchase some, you know, if you are somebody, like I said, who doesn't have the time, or doesn't know how to do it and you want to buy a ready-made tinder that is easily packable, then go ahead, click on the link in the description. They sell them in 1, 3, and 5 packs. I think they're $8 a piece for singles, and it goes up to, I think the 5-pack cost me $32. So it was basically buy 4 get 1 free if you bought the 5-pack. So that's what I did. Like I said, I want to support the guy in his endeavors. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a great night, and as always, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Bye bye.